Hello everyone. At this point in the course, our website is complete. There are no additional features that we need to program or code. However, even though our programming work is complete, this course would not be complete if we didn't also learn how to actually copy or move or push our WordPress website up onto a real web host so that the entire world can view it, right? Because as of this moment, our site only exists on our local dev environment, and we are the only ones that can view it. Now, the act of copying or moving or pushing a website up onto the web is commonly referred to as deploying. Okay, and learning how to deploy our website is exactly what we're going to cover in this section of the course. Now, here's a quick overview of what we will cover in this particular lesson. First, I will review the two main paths that I recommend for deploying your site. Now, big picture, there are way more than just two ways of doing this. There are probably hundreds of different ways of moving your website. But, in my opinion, these are two of the best ways of doing it. So we will review what these two paths are. We will cover the pros and cons of each path, and also go over a few factors that will help you decide which path is right for you. Okay, and then after that, in the second half of this lesson, you will have the chance to set up a free 3-month hosting account. Now, not everyone in this course will need to do this. Some of you already have a web hosting plan. However, some of you do not. And I don't want you to have to spend even another $1 when you are still in learning mode or practice mode. So the idea is that before we move on from this video and actually start walking through the paths of deploying a website, I first want to make sure that everyone in the course has access to a web host that they can practice uploading or pushing or deploying to. Now, when I say that this is a free 3-month account, the word free truly means free. You do not even need to enter a credit card or any sort of payment. So there's no way they can automatically bill you at the end of the 3 months. Okay, this is truly free. And we can talk more about that in the second half of this lesson. For now, let's start with number 1 and talk about the two paths that I recommend for pushing our website up onto the web. So let's say there's path A and path B. Path A is simple and path B is a bit more advanced. So which one is right for you? Well, they each have their own pros and cons. Path A is as simple as installing a free plugin within our local dev WordPress site. And this plugin bundles everything up for us. So it takes a copy of our database, and it also bundles up all of our files, right? Our PHP, CSS, JavaScript files. And it bundles all of this up into one convenient export file. So then all you need to do is import that file within another WordPress installation that you want to copy or move your website to. So what are the pros and cons? Well, the first advantage is that this path is super easy. There's no other prerequisite knowledge, so anyone can go with path A. In addition to being simple, it's also very fast. Once you're familiar with this plugin, you can move or copy a website, I would say within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, now the con or the drawback is that making future updates to your website files can be a bit annoying. Don't worry about the details of path A for now, because in our very next lesson, I'm going to walk through path A with you, step by step. Okay, now let's describe path B as well as its pros and cons. So path B is a bit more advanced, and it takes advantage of the Git version control system. Now, we are not going to learn Git itself in this course, because that's completely outside of our scope. That would be a course in and of itself. So if you've never used Git before, or if you've never heard of Git, you will want to go with path A. And then if in the future you do learn Git, then you can always circle back to this course and try out path B. Okay, so moving on, what exactly is path B and what are the pros and cons? The big advantage is that making updates to your live website files is super easy. Whenever you code a new feature or make any changes to your files within your local dev environment, and then commit and push those changes up to your GitHub or Bitbucket repository, well, those updated files get automatically uploaded to your web host server for you. And this is really luxurious. It's like the Rolls-Royce of deployment setups, because now you don't need to bother with FTP programs or file managers or mentally keeping track of which files you've changed and then need to upload to your web host. You don't need to do any of that. You literally just push your progress up to your Git repository like you would anyways, only now those updates get automatically synced and uploaded to your live site. Now this might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, it's a dream come true. So what are the cons or drawbacks to Path B? Well, number one is that you need to be familiar with the basics of Git. And not everyone is, so Path B is not for everyone. That's the first drawback. The other con is the initial setup time. There is a bit of a time investment up front for the first one-time setup. After that, it's smooth as silk and super quick, but there is a tiny time investment up front, whereas with Path A, you can be up and rolling within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so that's an overview of Path A and Path B. We're going to walk through each of them in detail in future videos, but right now you're likely trying to decide which path is right for you. Well, in addition to the Git factor, right, if you're not familiar with Git, you should probably choose Path A. In addition to that factor, I will give you another question, which is, how often do you think you'll need to make updates to your site files? So once your website is up on the web for the entire world to view, how often will you need to update the code? If you think that you'll only need to update the files maybe once or twice a year, I would go with Path A. Not only because it's simple, but also because it's really fast. Path B is really only worth the extra effort if you think you're going to be making somewhat regular or frequent updates to the code files of your live website. Now you don't need to make a decision. You can follow along with both paths if you want to. Beginning in the next video, I'm going to walk through Path A, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to completely delete my live website just so that I can start over again and demonstrate Path B. So if you want to experiment and try both paths, that's okay, but there's no need to do that. Either one will get the job done. Alright, now let's move on to the second half of this video and talk about web hosting, because we are going to need a web host to practice with regardless of whether we choose Path A or B. Now, if you do not already have a web hosting account, do not worry, because this course has partnered with SiteGround and you can sign up for a free 3-month student hosting account. And I mean the word free in the truest sense. You do not even need to enter a credit card or any sort of payment information, so there's no way they can automatically bill you at the end of the 3 months. Now obviously it's not going to come with a real .com domain. Your domain will be yourname.siteground.edu or something similar to that, but the idea is that you will have a live website that the entire world can view, and the important part is that you'll have a web host and server to practice deploying to. Before I show you how to sign up, you might want a little bit of information about the SiteGround company. Well, it's safe to say they have a great reputation. If you go to the official wordpress.org website and then click on hosting up in their header, WordPress only officially recommends 3 hosting companies. And you can see that SiteGround is one of those 3. And before we move on, I do want to say that when I was creating this course, I reached out to a lot of the big hosting companies to try and create a win-win situation. I wanted to set up free student hosting so that if you're just trying to learn WordPress and PHP and deployment, you don't need to spend another $1. So it's a win for students. And I thought it would be a win for hosting companies because obviously they're getting brand exposure and potentially creating relationships with future customers. However, SiteGround was the only big hosting company that was excited by my offer and opportunity. And I think that says a lot about the company. They are actively engaged in the web development community, and they are known for their customer service and being easy to communicate with. Now, obviously, you are free to use whatever hosting company you please, but if you do want to sign up for the free student hosting, let me show you how you can do that. So in your web browser, up in the address bar, visit learnwebcode.com/student-hosting. Okay, when you visit that URL, you should be taken to a page that looks like this. And from here we can click on the sign up button. Then you just need to enter a bit of contact information, and if you scroll down to the very bottom, we see that the hosting price is $0.00. And in the name of being fully transparent, I do want to say that I do not receive referral bonuses or any personal gain from you creating a free student account. If, however, in the future you do decide to purchase a real permanent hosting account and domain from SiteGround, then in that case I will receive a referral bonus from SiteGround for letting you know about them. Also, one more final note before we submit this form. If you are connecting to the internet from India, Nigeria, or Vietnam, unfortunately, as of the date that I'm filming this, you will not be able to create this free account. This might change in the future, but as of today, this is a policy that SiteGround has in place, and it's out of my control. Okay, now once you fill out and submit this form, you will see a screen like this, and it might take 1 second or a couple of minutes, but as soon as you receive an email from SiteGround, and if you don't see it right away, you might want to check your spam folder, but as soon as you receive that email, it means your new account was successfully created. So then we can just go up to the top right login button, click login, all right, and enter the username and password that you just created in the previous form. Once you sign in, you will see a screen that looks like this. For this first option that's asking about our domain, let's choose the Decide Later option. This way we can move forward without spending a penny. Okay, so you can see that it's going to generate a free domain for you. Everyone's domain will be different, but it's probably going to be your first name and then the first letter of your last name .sgedu.site. Cool, so that's the domain that the entire world will be able to view. Okay, next, for this option of set up your website, if you know that you want to try my simple path A for deploying your website, you will want to choose Start a New Website. If, however, you know that you want to skip path A and jump right to the more advanced path B, you can choose Don't Need Help Now. Since I'm going to walk through the simple path A with you, I'm going to choose Start a New Website. Okay, and then it's asking us to choose which type of software we want to use. As you might have guessed, we're going to select WordPress. Okay, scroll down a bit, then just enter an admin email address, username, and password. This will automatically create the first admin account in the WordPress installation, so be sure that you remember this password. Once you fill in the fields, then click Confirm. Okay, and finally, we do not need any of these extra options. So I will leave all of these checkboxes unchecked and click Confirm again. Okay, then make sure that the Terms of Service notice is checked and click Complete Setup. Cool, so you might need to wait anywhere from 5 seconds to 30 seconds, but then when you see this screen, let's go ahead and click Proceed to Customer Area. And if you already memorized the domain that it gives you, you can just visit that in a new tab. Or if you're like me and you already forgot the domain it gave you, just click on the My Accounts tab right here. Okay, and under this Installations tab, here is a link to your website. Go ahead and click on that. And you can see that it's a brand new, completely empty, fresh WordPress installation. And we know what to do from here. If you want to log into a WordPress website as the administrator, just go up into your address bar and at the very end of your domain, add on a /wp-admin. Okay, and then just log in with the WordPress username and password you chose just a moment ago. Okay, and once you log in, you'll see your traditional WordPress admin dashboard. But the cool part is anyone in the world can visit this website. So you're free to share this domain with friends and family. This is your public space on the web. Now our goal moving forward is to learn how to copy or move or migrate or deploy our fictional university website up from our local computer onto this public web server or web hosting account. And that's exactly what we're going to learn in the next lesson. we will walk through path A, or the simple route, for deploying a website. Let's keep things rolling, and I will see you then.